That was not the buzz. Okay. Right. Continuing on. So at this point, we would have this. I wonder, would I be able to do that? No, I wouldn't be able to, sadly. I can only afford 2 sections. Not that a 3 really benefits me. But this would be the next filter. That would go there. No, it wouldn't. Ah, wait. It would not. That would have to be even more far forward. Okay. Elsewise, that wouldn't have the opportunity to connect up because that's in the way otherwise. Ugh. This would allow me to get what I need done. All right. Like I said, vexing, but worse things happen at sea. There. All right. That gives me what I need. It gives me a clear run there for the nitrogen.
Hunger caution.
Which would flow from here over to this point, then up. Okay, almost there. I hope you don't mind me working this stuff out like live. Actually, one of the things I enjoy the most. 4, 5. Actually, we might be able to get away with a 5 pipe here, which is a rare pleasure because it means that we get things a little bit cheaper. Yes, we did. It would help if I'd put it in the right place. What a concept. There we go. No, that's wrong. Wrong bong incorrect. That is the waste pipe. Oh, rather that shouldn't be the waste pipe. Alright. I've tortured chat far too long with me not caring about my character thirsting. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to deal with that right now. Then we'll come back and do more stuffs. Listen, I could watch someone else if I didn't want to watch you deal with the spaghetti. That's fair. That is completely fair. How are the ferrets doing? The ferret is doing well. Not ferrets anymore, sadly. The other 4, you know, as they got older, they just succumbed to one of the big 3, and that was cancer. Though, you know, as far as things to take them out, it sounds bad, but at the very least, that means that it wasn't some sort of preventable thing. You know, if cancer was going to get them, it was going to get them. Whereas the others are, can be exacerbated or straight up caused by their environment or their diet. The other two big, kind of end of life illnesses. Right, we want a drink. But Athena is doing very, very well. Alright, at this stage, I think I probably need to refill my O2. Actually, no, I don't really. You've got lots of room in there. The larger canisters are really working hard for us right now.
Waste tank caution.
Okay, maybe I was wrong about that. I mean, it's a ridiculously big. You know what? It's that the suit is programmed to give that alert when the pressure in the waste tank is above a certain amount, not the percentage of the waste tank. So it's saying that because there's not enough pressure or rather there's too much pressure in the tank. It must be getting full. It doesn't care that it could easily handle 5 times that pressure. Well, at least 4 times comfortably. The reason why we don't get an alert about oxygen being low is because oxygen being way over the pressure it expects isn't a cause for alarm. It's when the oxygen gets low pressure that the alarm triggers. Vexing, but oh well. Get up off the floor. Out we go. They say once you grow food, you've colonized. And the moon is thoroughly colonized. I've grown a lot of food on the moon. Right, we wanted... Let's say that the next one is going to be nitrogen. Let's say the next tank is a nitrogen tank. Because that could then feed into this in a very specific way. Though, having a... I need a tank filler station to be able to push sufficient nitrogen into the waste line. We'll see. There's a couple of ways I could do it, but one of them in particular is one that I prefer. For the sake of ease... I'll lift this up. One, two. 1, 2, 3, I think. Well, we'll see. Man, I need more. That's irritating. The wiring will go around behind there. This is simply here to keep the temperature in my air gas is at 50. I can have one that keeps the temperature for the fuel mix much lower if I want. And that might make sense, because I could keep the fuel mix at -10 instead. And I could have that over here with the nitrous and the pollutants. I need to decide where I'm taking the nitrogen pipe out. We'll have a look. We are not yet at the point where I don't need to use these. Since I now have a better idea of where the CO2 line is coming in. Is 5 just too long? I think it might be, sadly. No. Huh. Okay. Very nice. Very nice indeed. This doesn't need to be insulated in here as long as the part that's exposed to the vacuum is. Okay. And let's go and grab... Oh, though there was the other thing I wanted to do was to place this down. Now that I've got a good idea of where it should go. This one will be the nitrogen pipe. Like that. I can easily just place these floorings down without much cause for concern. Facing dawn. Yeah. We'll just keep moving these along. Yeah, the plants are breathing. They breathe in CO2, which I breathe out. And they breathe out O2, which I breathe in. There are plants that breathe different things, exotic plants. But you usually need to have gotten to a point where you can trade in order to get hold of those. Right, we want... plenty more pipes. Oh, that's silver, not steel. Some silicon. Right, go ahead. No, we're not using vapor collection for water. The process to get water from plants is a little bit more long-winded in this. We're simply gathering water ice and melting it every now and then. But to get it from plants, you'd need to put the plants or their seeds through a recycler to get biomass, run the biomass through a centrifuge to generate volatiles. And then mix those volatiles with the O2 that the plants are breathing in an electrolyzer to, a H2 combustor to generate water. Well, very hot steam specifically. I see. I like the complexity of this game, says Anton. My only problem is, what is free time? I don't have much of it. Yeah. Yeah. That is mood right there. Okay. I want util. Print at least 2 of these for me. Actually, I just realized I probably didn't need to do that. As I do already have those out there that I will be repurposing once that's no longer responsible for the cooling. That was a silly mistake. Alright. Right. Let's jump down here. Turn on my lamp again. Right. I guess I could have 2 of them if I really wanted to. Keep the pressure low. Make sure it's extremely unlikely for the nitrogen to liquefy. Let's not place that right in front of the exit point. To be honest, I could easily put that over here instead. No, let's keep it somewhat localized, where I can clearly see what's linking to what. Now, I could just rise a... because this room is going to be 1 to 2 tall. Right now, I guess it's going to be 1 tall. So that would be 5, 6. So if we went for a 7, or more to the point, a 10 tall joint. Can I get that to connect? There we go. Yes, it'll go straight up through the floor, but that's fine. Pipes do that all the time. And I can put the radiators up there to chill any nitrogen that I want. Have a tank there to charge this with nitrogen. Likewise, though, I could easily do that with a pressure regulator being fed by the actual coolant. Because the coolant is going to be fed by a pressure regulator from the nitrogen storage. And so it would just trickle down. That's not a bad idea, actually. That is not a bad idea at all. The only issue here is, will the pressure regulator point the right way? Or rather, its energy socket. Make 2 of these for me. Because I'm going to need one from the nitrogen. How's power doing? Power's doing amazing. Also, are we due a storm yet? No. The Junkie Game said, I always wanted to make a below ground base in this. I'm glad to see it's entirely possible. Oh yeah, no, it's very, very possible. Very possible. I think we may be in love. No, we are not. Okay, let me just double check, but I'm fairly certain this will not let me run a cable through that. It will. Fantabulous. Great success. How much capacity do I want in this then? So I guess we don't even need that tank, honestly, if I'm going to be controlling it via this. How much have I got in here? 1 megapascal worth to allow it to really be a thermal sink. But with that on it, it's going to be a bit of a bugger. Also, you're pointing the wrong way. Let me fix you. Never mind. My happiness was very short-lived. Oh, you're gonna be a pain. Actually, no, that's not too off. I could hook all of these up to the data ports, but that's an extra bit of cabling, and if I don't need it, I'm not sure I should be doing it. Yeah, we're going to need a lot more cabling. That's okay. We're going to need a lot more of everything. I'm fairly certain we're going to be going for a chonky mining trip in a moment. That's fine. Okay. So that's the coolant line, which will feed into this. I'm really uncertain of needing that, though, at this stage. So I'm going to take that back. We're going to lower this instead. There we go. We'll set this to 1 megapascal. Coolant line will run along here. Each filter in turn will manage certain resources. This one, though, will have a specific job in that it will not only connect up in that direction, it will also where did I put the other pressure regulator? Oh, there we go. I apparently played moon football with it. The way. In this one, let's say exactly the same. Let's say 1 megapascal of pressure in the coolant pipe. Oh, thank you so much for the sub, Anton. That's really kind of you. All right. CO2 and nitrogen will be set up. I'm not sure that we're actually going to run anything through here, so I am going to tentatively, very tentatively, weld these such that I can at least walk on them. But, and this is an important but, all buts are important, Chad. I need to double weld these, otherwise I will depressure my base. So, really cannot overstate how important it is that these get re-welded later. This one is a special case because that one is going to be running down through here to connect up to this. And I'll probably have that run up and along. That'll go down and underneath, yeah. I think so. Okay. Ice crushers will go on this side in some configuration or another. I'm not entirely sure yet. But we'll see. So, how much have we got in there? Very little. Got enough steel, got enough silicon. Plenty of that. But iron is a real pain. I can't believe we ran out of iron. I guess I did make a bunch of steel, so. Okay, on the morrow. The solar panels facing dawn yet? No, they're quite far from it. Also, bugger. It's going to be a storm tomorrow then. Okay, well, you're coming inside with me then. Less than ideal, chat. Less than ideal. Then we just want pipes. Sure. Just print me a bunch of insulated pipes. Okay, this will be a nice room when it's ready. I need regular pipes to hook up to the CO2. This itself will vent this pipe should the container here really struggle. Which is good enough. Oops. Like that. Let's go ahead and swap out the arc welder for now. The arc welder's battery, that is. Okay. Yeah, pretty much more or less everything is needed in larger amounts than I currently have. It's about midnight, so we got a bit of time before the storm. I'm just going to let you print for a while. Alright, this needs to be like so. Oxygen would be next. the hotels soon after. This would calm down. I need to hook up that cabling soon. Grab some more pipes. Oh, just in time. Right, can we get some cables? Yes. Make me plenty. We need a couple of stacks. Over here, I want some regular pipes. Bring me as much as you can. Hey, Urban Hangman. What am I working on? I'm presently working on an a gas filtration setup. I'll be expanding my habitat out across all of this. And just adding in some quality of life stuff like the suit storage, air scrubber, water fountain. And it's very low tech. I could automate this massively using IC. But I'm opting for a minimal automation right now because this is meant to be a starter base. And I kind of want to have that progression of starter base into something big and, you know, really well designed later on. How many of the cables have we got? Good enough? No, stop. There you go. But we have got a solar storm on the way, as you can tell from the weather system. Right. At this point, this can simply be hooked up in here. That's the CO2 connected. Now, as for you, we are going to want first and foremost that, then a wrench, then this. This will be a back pressure regulator again. Pretty much most of the gases I'm not going to have in enough quantity to warrant doing this. But occasionally I will. And when that occasionally happens, I'm going to want to take very good care of it. I'm going to need a back pressure regulator there so that if this tank gets up to 15 kilopascals, it vents.
Power low.
It is not, you lie. It's 50%. That's not low. Just realized. We can just go for the 3 here. You connect? Ah. No. Sadly, can't do that. Ah, shame. Again, though, the 3s don't actually save you any pipe. It's only the 5 and the 10s that save the amount of pipe that you use. We're going to have a lot of things wanting nitrogen. I'm going to have to use nitrice at some point, so I will need to set up a quick ice crusher. Pardon me for pausing a second. My eye was starting to sting. As much as I joke about being allergic to things like having to wire or having pipes the wrong color, maybe there are some pollens about that I'm not too happy with. Sadly, I am allergic to both summer and winter pollens, so hay fever season never stops for me. There we go. Right, that'll be the nitrogen line. Oh. No, we can't do it like that. And I will tell you why. Because this is going to be the oxygen connection there. So instead, I'm going to want this to go straight up. Oh, yeah. The solar storm is here. I'll just get this pipe laid down and then I'm going to run inside. Flee! Don't flee that high! What we got behind the shadows? Haha! Take that, son. Never forget, chat. The sun is a deadly laser. Deadly laser! Ow! Am I playing Pipe Mania? Feels like it right now. Yeah, because I'm doing atmospheric, so kind of is full Pipe Mania mode. Okay, the pressure in here is going to go up a bit because it's about to get a lot warmer. I really do need to make some blinds or shutters to deal with this. I wonder how my plants handle the storms. I haven't really thought about that. Do they get over bright? Breathing efficiency. It's just an eclipse. Storm hasn't ended. Sun is hiding behind the earth. Light efficiency is 144%. There's no deficiency on light or darkness. Okay. Oh, it requires 1%. Really? I need to give it 1% CO2? Oh, okay. Gonna have to adjust that then to allow for 1% CO2. I mean, I guess the game doesn't require that you won't take damage from CO2 in the same way you would in real life, so I suppose it just figures that they can have like whole percentages. God, that light though. It's very bright. It is shockingly bright. So what's the difference between this and, say, Space Engineers? This is more survival crafting. Space Engineers is more tech sim. Now, I don't know about Space Engineers 2. That could be very different. But what if polarized glass will be a thing later? Maybe, yeah. I know you can have proper window shutters. So let's have a look. Composite window shutter. That requires steel and solder in an auto lathe tier 1. I could absolutely do that. Make a bunch of shutters that I could activate to shut down how bright the light is. But the thing is, the plants love it. It's only me with my delicate eyeballs that dislike it. Oh, the Apex update added a little more survival to Space Engineers. Well, oh, okay, fair. Still, I would say that this is more of a survival crafter than Space Engineers. Space Engineers has a real focus on the engineering part. And while you do an enormous amount of engineering, and it's quite comparable between the two games, in this game the engineering is a byproduct of the survival, whereas I feel that in Space Engineers whatever survival is there is probably backseat to the engineering. I'll stand over here where it's a little bit less bright. Hidoto says, Empyrean Galactic Survival is like the best one for single player, I feel. I don't know about that. I think Empyrean Galactic Survival does sit somewhere between the two, though. In that Space Engineers really focuses on the engineering and has got a lot of effort put into vehicles in particular. This Stationeers barely touches vehicles. It does a little bit, but really not much. What it does focus on is the player and their survival and their environment. Like in Space Engineers, for example, a block is either airtight or it is not airtight. In this, there's the particular gas composition of the atmosphere that you've got. There's the pressure, the temperature, they're both intertwined. There's the state. If it's too cold and too low pressure, well, it's suddenly liquid. If it's really cold, it's suddenly ice. If it was in a pipe, the pipe is now exploded because suddenly ice. Whereas Empyrean has a lot to do with like vehicle construction, but there is a lot of survival there as well. But it is, I would say that Empyrean tries to do both jobs, does neither job as well as the game that focuses on it, but does the other job that the game doesn't focus on better. If that makes sense. Like Empyrean has better survival than Space Engineers, but worse vehicles and vehicle engineering. It has better vehicles than Stationeers, but much worse survival. Gotta eat some floor potato. Yeah, at some point, complexity can absolutely kill a game. I do not feel that this game is at that point, though. This is a game that you go to if other games are not complicated enough. For example, I find the base building in Empyrean tragically oversimplified to the point of actually frustrating. It's like trying to build a really detailed Lego model out of Duplo box. It isn't a satisfying experience. And the story, such that it is extreme surface level. That being said, it does have a story. It does have a reason for you to do stuff. You know, it's very easy to poo-poo on something, but at least it's trying. However, I do not feel the two, they're not trying to be the same game. And so comparing them is always difficult, but like I said, Empyrean sits somewhere between Space Engineers and I should drink as well before I go. Space Engineers and Stationeers. I do not necessarily think that I'm just going to say what I'm thinking, but I want to preface this. I'm not calling anyone out. If you don't like the complexity in Space Engineers or you don't like the complexity in Stationeers, that is no commentary on whether you're smart enough for it. You just don't want it in your game, and that's completely fine. The last thing people want to do when they come home from an engineering job is do more work. But I would say that if you dislike the complexity of Stationeers or Space Engineers, then Empyrean might be a really good game for you to try, because it is far less complicated in almost every metric between those two games. But it is more of a game. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. We wanted back pressure, so more pressure regulators. I'm going to need more gold, which I've got, thankfully. Not much. Well, I do have a lot, actually. Let's get 2 of these. Well, time to take a break from trying to write a resume. How's the base going? It's coming along. It is indeed coming along. I'm going to be going on tea break in about 13 minutes, which means just towards the end of this night. Tragically. Back pressure regulator. Back pressure regulator. This will be oxygen here. Now, the pipes at the top don't need to be insulated because I don't care. I'm venting the gas. It may as well be just regular pipes, which is far cheaper for me to produce because I'm just going to be venting it straight out like a chimney. Let's go ahead and place down these. There we go. Now, I will likely have multiple pressures being peeled off from oxygen. Obviously, there's the oxygen that's going this way. But I'm also going to want some oxygen being fed to fuel. Let me hop down here. Oh, wait. You're going to want to be here, as will you. 1, 2. And then, yep, same again. Gonna want that to go up. Since I know the shape of the connections that I'm going to have down here, I can go ahead and just lay these in even before I have the devices that they're going to be connecting to. What I will try to do is then print out all the devices at once. Get everything wired at once. Yeah. That will be the waste pipe out of the nitrogen. Nitrogen filter. That goes into the oxygen filter. So that's as far as we've gotten so far. This will be the nitrogen coolant line. And that's the nitrogen waste line, which is the... But effectively, I'm going to try and keep a pipe of nitrogen cooled to 20 degrees. Which in turn will be cooled by nitrogen. Actually, you know what? Wait. Why? I might be making a bit of a mistake there. Nitrogen, the reason why I use nitrogen on the outside is because basically it can't freeze. But specific heat is 20.6 joules per Kelvin. What I would want is something that can... I want to be able to absorb a lot of heat from the other items. Let's have a look at you. What's your specific? 24.8 joules. Okay. $21. 20.4. Steam is like literally water cooling is the most effective that it'll ever be. Will I be having a cup of tea? Yeah, in about 9 minutes. That's like nearly 3 times as effective of a coolant But to use that safely, I feel you need to use phase change. Like, I'd need to use 2 phase change devices. It's possible, honestly, since I've got... You could... If I was going to go through this and I had the 2 phase change chambers, the condenser and the evaporator, I'd probably set up a really specific system that was automated and worked with each of the gases individually, that I could set their set points so I could get the most out of them. I really don't think we're going to be doing that, though. We're just going to stick with nitrogen, I think. Well, I mean, I could go with pollutants, I suppose. The nice thing about nitrogen, though, is like, no, even if a shock of heat was added to the system, like I just dumped all of my furnace heat in here via this tank. Sorry, the other way around. Even if this was well, I guess, yeah, no, that wouldn't be a problem. The shock of heat wouldn't be an issue. I could fill it with pollutants then. Huh. All right. That might be the route we take instead of using nitrogen to fill this. But then I've got to get nitrogen over here somehow, which is now a new problem. Why is nothing ever simple? I might just stick with the nitrogen just because it's relatively easy. Though I will just do one quick check, and this will more or less answer this question for me. There's more nitrogen in here than there is pollutants. Way more pollutants in here than there is nitrogen. Let's pause this for a second. Let me have a look at the ores and when they off gas. I think I need to have a look at ingots for that, though. Oh, no, it was ores. I think probably more ores off gas pollutants than not. Yeah, okay. Okay, I am going to need a nitrogen tank then to be able to push nitrogen into the external coolant line. That is a bit of a change from what I was expecting, but it's okay. We're doing this live in many more ways than one. Let's take you down. So I will need a pressure regulator here. Damn it, come on. There we go. I will need to set the pressure limit to 1 megapascal. That's not 10, 1. And then run some cabling behind. Need to do that anyway. Frustratingly, cables don't have longer variants. Though I think the reason for not doing that is likely because one piece of cable is not discretely distinguishable from 4 pieces of cable all connected to one another. So I strongly suspect that's why that happens. All right. We're definitely going to need some lighting down here, though. That suddenly occurs to me. I will need a util. Is there a... There is not a pipe version of that. Sorry, an insulated version of a canister refiller. Okay. Avenger, I need a cup of tea. I'm going to be going on tea break in 3 minutes. Hold the line, chat. Hold the line. There's really no iron here. Why do I keep checking and feeling disappointed when the answer is no? Yeah, we need to do a big iron hunt later. Alright, the solar panels are almost getting there ready for daytime. How can we hold the line if we don't have a cup of a cuppa in the other hand? Footing into K asking some very uncomfortable questions right now. No, the canister storage I don't think stores any gases, so it'll probably just come down to having a tier 2 canister. You keep going. I should imagine that's the case. All right. So right now we know that you're going to be connecting up here. So let's do that. And this will be our... That not connect? Do I not have enough? Oh. Huh. Fair. There we go. I think that was probably Sheila letting me know all that door closing was probably a delivery that just got. But my headphones are stupid good. I cannot hear a thing outside of them if I don't enable the external speakers. But yeah, delivered today. All right. Package was left on the back porch. Gotcha. Sheila's already got it. Thank you, Sheila. Right. But it's time for the tea break anyway, so let's go ahead and pop back into our safe space. But it is always a balmy 25 degrees. Oh my god, that would actually kill me. Not figuratively. I'd be dead. Dunk. Right. Nomsh. Final potato before we have to start harvesting again. Made those potatoes last. Final drink. Delicious potato. Just as the morning arrives, which means when I get back, it's going to be nighttime, so it's not going to be worth me going for a mining run. Well, you know, at least you're going to get to admire the beautiful sunrise, because I'm sure that's not going to hurt your eyes. Nope, not even slightly. All right, chat. I'll be back soon.